Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the stage. The ad director for the Silicon Valley Business Journal, that's Jay Jenske.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How we doing? Yeah. Good evening. I'm Jay Jenske. I'm the advertising director for the Silicon Valley Business Journal, and I'd like to welcome you all to the 2017 Big Ad Challenge, sponsored, this is presentation night Big Ad Challenge, sponsored by Wells Fargo. Let's put it together. What do you guys think of the venue? Pretty good? Not bad. A little better than last year if you were here. This is pretty good. All right, so tonight we're going to see some presentations from the teams you see around here. I know how much time, sweat, hours, tears, laughs you all had putting these things together. When I was a student at San Jose State, I got to live kind of a similar dream, but not reality, called campaigns. Anyone take campaigns at San Jose State? Any hands? Oh, that was back when we were doing dinosaurs and stuff. So we had this thing, but it wasn't quite the same as this. You guys have had the opportunity to really, truly put together an ad campaign for real advertisers with real money at stake. And so I know, and I've talked to a few of you, that you've put a lot of effort into this. So I really want to thank you, and I think we should all give everybody here, a student, a round of applause. All right, so tonight, before we dive into the presentation, I want to give a big thank you to our platinum sponsor, Wells Fargo. This wouldn't happen without you guys. I also want to thank JP Graphics, our partner sponsor. Come on. We couldn't do this without our participating schools. Let's put it together for San Jose State University. Spartans. Mission College, come on. Wow, very nice. West Valley, are you there? There you go. How about Evergreen? Do I hear Evergreen in the house? All right, so I'm going to quickly go through our agenda. And initially we're going to hear from our platinum sponsor, Wells Fargo. Amy, fellow Spartan, Amy Kuyong. Amy's going to come up here to the podium in a minute and provide some introductory remarks. Following Amy's remarks, we're going to have our instructors say a few words because it's good to hear from them, obviously. And then each team is going to come up here and they get to do their presentation in front of our judges. Don't worry, there's going to be two more. Not a lot of pressure on you two in case they don't show. But you're going to have 5 minutes. How many minutes? That wasn't enough. I didn't hear everybody. How many minutes? 5 minutes, because we have a big hook and we'll pull you right off. So, at this time, I'd like to invite Amy up to the stage. She's the Vice President and District Manager of Tech Gateway at Wells Fargo. Come on up, Amy. Amy's a proud alumna of San Jose State. Spartan, the Bachelor's of Science in Advertising. She's been with Wells Fargo for 14 years as Vice President and District Manager of Tech Gateway. I don't know how you fill that on a card, but you're happy to lead 11, you guys ready for this? 11 branches in Mountain View, Cupertino, and Sunnyvale with over 175 team members serving their customers. Welcome, Amy.
Good evening, everybody. It is an honor to speak in front of all of you guys. I took campaign, so I know how excruciatingly hard this must have been, but it is extremely fulfilling. And I just have a couple of words of advice from the 14 years I've been at Wells. I'm a mother of soon-to-be 3, so I just had to explain to my son today the difference between why my laptop didn't have a touch screen. And I also explained to him that I want a Super NES. And he was like, what's that? And I said, it has Street Fighter on it. I showed him a YouTube video, and he's all, how come it's not in 3D? And I felt super old. So today is one of those emotional days that I'm happy to talk to some adults that might understand what Street Fighter was when you had to put quarters on the machines. It's a big day for you. It might seem like a small little presentation for 5 minutes, but it's a big day. And I can tell you 3 things why. Number 1, you're in presence of our small business owners. My father was a business owner for 25 years. They can teach you one thing and one thing only. One thing, but many things, but the most important thing is perseverance and hard work ethic. They are probably working 40 plus hours. My father worked 60 plus hours. I didn't even see him, but he provided for my family. So the time you spent today the time you spent with with them working on the advertising campaign. Please continue that relationship and network with them, because they are going to teach you so much about perseverance in the business that we don't get in our everyday education. So please reach out to your small business owners. The second thing is be patient. I pretend to be a typical millennial. I remember working as a teller at Wells Fargo 14 years ago, and someone tempting me with 25 cents more, and me going, okay, someone's offering me 25 cents more, I'm gonna go. It's not about that. When you're going through this and you're going through your career, take the time to be patient and experience as much as you can, because the best leaders, our best small business owners, our best individual contributors have gone through adversity and know how to come out of it. It's one of those lessons that you don't really learn, but when you've challenged yourself and have come out of adversity, it's one of those things you can say, I've been through it, I can handle anything else. And the last thing, feedback is a gift. You are gonna see so many presentations today. And a lot of these people are gonna be competing against jobs with you guys. I mean, that guy over there who had a spoon on his nose, dude, I would compete with him. I was watching, I was like, man, I'll hire him. I like this, he got talents. What I would say is take a lot of notes tonight. How many presentations are there? 13 presentations. That's 13 presentations. I really encourage you to write, what did they do well? What did they succeed in? What did you miss that you could have added to your campaign? What do you think that some feedback you could provide to your peers? The reason why is when you get feedback, you can get better, you learn. And more importantly, network. I think at the end of this, you have 15 minutes to network. Take the time, because you can have an entire ad agency right here collectively with the amount of talent that's in this room. Take the time to network. My boss always tells me, when I go to any type of conference, I need to come home with 3 business cards. And it can't be friends that I was at the bar or someone I really got to talk about my movies with. By the way, Speed with Keanu Reeves is the best movie of all time. So if you've ever not seen that movie, you need to watch that movie. I mean, he should have won an Oscar for that. So network. Find 2 or 3 people you are very impressed with and exchange phone numbers. Start getting to know them. Find out how you can work with them after this presentation. Because you don't know, you could be the next startup company that makes millions of dollars, and then you have to give me a check because I gave you the idea. And this is videotaped, so it's already on there. Finder's fee, yeah, see, I introduced this guy. If he becomes the next Mark Zuckerberg, like, I will say, that was me. That was me right there. It's on video. So please today, as you make a very, very momentous presentation, know that we, as consumers, are very, very grateful what you're doing to our business owners. For my small business owners, not only from Wells Fargo, but as a daughter of someone who's been a small business owner for 25 years, I thank you so much for your dedication to our economy, to our community, because it's a lot of work and sacrifice. So I really, really appreciate it. And from Wells Fargo Bank, congratulations to you all. Enjoy your night. You have served dinner. Last time was a buffet. This is, dude. Hey, save me dessert. What's for dessert? Oh, just love. That's okay. This is the Asian part of me would have brought Tupperware, but I didn't know this was gonna be it. I didn't know. But enjoy your night. Remember my 3 rules. Please make sure that you learn from your business owners more than just from the campaign. Please get feedback as much as you can, network, and be patient and persevere, because adversity will teach you much more than just a small, simple raise. And enjoy your night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. All right, next I'm going to ask the instructors to come up and say a few words. I know you're in the house, but there's one instructor I know is not in the house, and that's San Jose State Dr. Stephen Eckstone, so I get to actually say his remarks. Thank you, Stephen. Come on, let's go. Thank you, Stephen. The Silicon Valley Business Journal has been a wonderful and supportive partner to San Jose State in many ways. But the opportunity that this Ad Challenge offers our advertising students has been the most valuable. Each year, some of the best and brightest students compete for this opportunity to experience the real world of marketing and advertising. Thanks to the clients that participated and to the Business Journal for making it happen, I am Stephen Eckstone. I approve those comments. If anyone knows him, don't tell him I did that impression. Thank you. All right. How about Melanie from Mission College? I know they're here.
Yeah, it is really scary to be up here. Just letting you know. First of all, I want to thank Wells Fargo. Absolutely, Wells Fargo. Of course, the Business Journal, one of the best, absolutely. And I also want to thank all of these small business owners and participants who come together with these students who are patient, understanding, meet them at odd times, understand that they're still learning, but also challenge them in a way that they're already starting their careers. You cannot do this in a classroom. Mom can stand there all night long and say, this is what you do, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. But then the client walks in and suddenly you've got a person from another planet and they're really scary and they're really nice people. And so working reality has been, I hope, the most excellent experience for our students. Regardless of where they're going to college, the fact that they are getting an education is so valuable. So thank you, small business owners, for your participation, understanding, and input. You are teaching a great generation of designers, marketing professionals. Branding, I believe, is what they thought they came to learn. But they learned, hopefully, a great deal more than that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. I'm good. We're halfway through the instructors, but who knows what wear plaid or plaid weekend means? No? No one? It's Small Business Weekend last weekend. It was Shop at a Small Business. Wear plaid. So, right? There's no coincidence this is happening right around that time. So next up, let's bring up Sylvia Min from Evergreen Valley College.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Min, the Design and Digital Media Instructor from Evergreen Valley College. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Wells Fargo and the Silicon Valley Business Journal for supporting both our small businesses and our local educational institutions and providing us with this amazing opportunity. And thank you for the small businesses for taking a chance and for trusting our students with your life's work. And to the students, I want you to know I'm not sadistic. I didn't have you sign up for this because I wanted to stress you out or have you lose sleep. I truly believe that this is a valuable experience that will help you on your life journey, wherever it may lead. I know the road to get here wasn't easy. You have family obligations, work, other classes, and a life. I acknowledge this and I applaud you. I want you to know that we instructors are very proud of you, and thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you, Sylvia. All right, now Jean McIntosh to the stage, West Valley. She's not here. Okay, well, let's give it up anyway. I have no speech for Jean. At this time, I'm going to introduce our judges, our established panel of judges, and give them a brief overview of their background and have them say a few words. Let's start off with Larissa Acosta. She's the Vice President, Segments Marketing Lead for Wells Fargo. Larissa, let's hear from you. Would you like to say a few words? That's a microphone right there. That's what it's for.
This feels like a reality television show with the microphone. So, like The Voice, but I don't watch it. I'm so excited to be here. Advertising has been my career for the past 20 years. I work on all the major advertising campaigns that you see from Wells Fargo. So if you see a billboard with a cardon of message, I worked on that. You see a television commercial with a cat, I worked on that. I look forward to seeing your work. So good luck.
Thank you. Next up, Nicholas Adams, Ninico Communications President.
Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicholas. I'm president of Ninico Communications. We're a top-rated 25 public relations, advertising, marketing communications agency right here in San Jose. I've been ranked by the Business Journal among the top 25 the past 4 years. Thanks to the Business Journal for that. We have an office in Los Angeles and one here in San Jose. We cover everything from brand strategy, public relations, media affairs, advertising, and the digital marketing space. So looking forward to being part of this again for the third time this evening, and looking forward to seeing all of your presentations. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Nicholas. And welcome back again and again. And Melissa Pacell, Vice President, Creative Director, Wells Fargo Bank.
Is this working? Hello, and it is like being on The Voice or something, right? Is there going to be singing tonight? So I'm a creative director in the in-house agency at Wells Fargo, and prior to this I was with Silicon Valley Bank and marketing as well, and prior to that I had a small business. I had a team of 4 art directors in downtown Willow Glen, as a matter of fact, for 15 years, and I worked on several campaigns across the valley, including a branding project for Evergreen Valley College, way back when. So I'm very excited to see everyone's work today, and I really appreciate the partnership between each other with us, and completely understand the initiative that it takes to be a creative, to be a partner, and to work with people in the business world. So really, again, looking forward to seeing the work today, and congrats to everybody.
Thank you, Melissa. And our final judge, Sarah Storelli. Did I get it right? Yes. All right. External Relations Lead at IBM. Sarah.
Hi, everyone. My name's Sarah. So I've actually had a career thus far in B2B tech PR. So I was on the agency side for 3 years and worked on some of Silicon Valley's darling companies. Then went in-house to an ad tech firm. Then now for the past few years I've been at IBM, where I oversee global PR for 3 of our different businesses. In addition to, I'm also now the incoming president for the Public Relations Society of America Silicon Valley chapter, starting in 2018.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And incredibly excited to be here, and was honored to be asked to judge this evening as well. So looking forward to seeing all of your projects, and thanks so much for your hard work.
Thank you, judges. Kind of worried that you don't have robes on. That would have been cool, but I'm just saying, we'll let it go this time. Don't worry, students, their lives are in your hands. Nothing to worry about. No pressure at all. Before we get going, I want to thank a very special person, Deidre Boyd, VP of Marketing Consultant of Wells Fargo, Northern California, Central California Region Marketing, for making it happen tonight. Thank you, Deidre. All right, now thank you very much for all of you volunteering your time, everybody here. When you all sat down, you probably saw on your seat, and we put it there for a reason, a little form that we'd like you to fill out. Did everyone see those things? If it wasn't on your chair, probably got put on the table. We need you to fill those out at some point tonight. Leave them on your table. Those are release forms for photos, so we can show your beautiful faces all over our advertising. Does that seem fair? All right, good enough. All right, now on to the show. So, in the program, you will see the order in the program, that other thing that's on your chair, that was on your thing, you'll see the order of the presentations. So when I call your team name, please come up to this podium right here, and as soon as you're ready, we're gonna start the timer. How many minutes do you get? 5 minutes, exactly. Once that time is up, the little buzzer will go off. Sam is gonna use her phone that's got a really cool little ding. That's Sam over there. Let's give it up for Sam. Once your 5 minutes is up, the judges will have up to 5 minutes to ask follow-up questions. Unless it's so perfect, they don't have to ask you anything. Haven't seen that yet, but it could be the first. It could happen. We're going to be awarding the following categories this year: the best marketing analysis, the best media strategy, best creative execution, and of course, best presentation, and the grand prize winner of the $25,000 ad campaign in the Business Journal. how's that going to happen? After tonight, the judges are going to deliberate and the winners will be announced via email. So you all have your email addresses to us. That's how you found us here and not anywhere else. And you also may notice there's a camera here. There's actually a lot of cameras here. But there's one back there that's doing some videoing tonight. So we're going to have access and we'll be publishing a write-up about this. Did anyone see last year's? I dropped off some admission, some of the papers. Anyone see it? Pretend you said yes. Okay, good, great. So you're gonna see this in the issue of December 17th. So all teams will have their picture taken by the photographer as well. So when you're done doing your 5-minute presentation and your Q&A with these judges, please go right outside that door over there and make your first left into the atrium and follow the photographers to have your group photo taken. Where are we going? That was terrible. Let's try it again. Where are we going to get our photos taken? The atrium. We'll get there. It's a long day. We want to go slow. All right. Does anyone want to do this? Are we ready? Where's the energy? Judges, are you ready? Yes. Judges are ready. Sam, are you ready? Sam is ready. So I have a computer up here. Have you guys ever heard of these things? This is weird. But it's got all your presentations up here in different little things at the bottom. And you probably know way more about this than I do. But when you come up, we'll find them. Sam will be here to help find them. We're all going to be good. Let's get this party started. All right. Our first team is Dreamhouse Studio. They're representing 99 bottles of beer on the wall.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? My name is Carlos Maris and I'm representing our team, Dreamhouse Studio, and we had the privilege of working with 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall, which is owned by Mia and Dave Bossy. 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall is a local restaurant and pub. It's been around for over 20 years, actually 25 years. And they are well known for their friendly staff and their welcoming atmosphere. What sets them apart is their large variety of beers. They have 45 beers on tap and 200 bottled beers. After speaking with our client, it was clear that our goal for the campaign ad was for our team to reach out to the business community in Silicon Valley and introduce them to and invite them to 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall. We wanted to highlight 4 key elements of the business, which were the welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. We wanted to highlight the large variety of beers that's available, the new happy hour menu that they're currently rolling out, and lastly, the ability for groups to book a private area. A lingering question that was on our mind throughout the campaign process was, how are we going to get people from Silicon Valley up into Santa Cruz? And so to help answer that question, our group focused on the profile, the audience in Silicon Valley Business Journal. So with that said, our first print ad. Our first print ad is a half horizontal. The goal of this design is to highlight the welcoming atmosphere and community that 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall has to offer. We've done this by offering and showing authentic pictures of the staff. So this is actually Virginia. She's actually here. She's a well-respected staff member on staff. She was a part of the design process along with Dave and Mia. And this is actually her holding 2 trays full of the new happy hour menu and the sampler of beer. We use the thin white frame to help guide the viewer through the ad and to help bring Virginia and the elements forward to the viewer. We use the tagline, the face of community, to convey that 99 Bottles of Beer has a strong community element to it. And lastly, we wanted to highlight the new happy hour menu, the large amount of beer that's available, the selection of beer, excuse me, and the ability for private groups to book a room. So we placed it in the subheader and tried to show it in the image as well. For our second print ad, it's also half horizontal. The goal of this ad is to carry the welcoming theme, but we wanted to pair the traditional look of the logo with a more contemporary layout. We used the similar, it's the same photo as the first ad. The reason for that is we want the brand to be recognized throughout the campaign. And also, we wanted the viewer, the audience, to see 99 Bottles and recognize it right away. So we enlarged the logo and we gave more space to the design. For our third ad, it's a vertical island. Again, we're continuing the welcoming theme. The goal for this ad is to show the happy hour menu. And again, we're using a thin frame to guide the viewer through the ad. For our digital ad, we're continuing the welcoming theme through a large photo, again, of Virginia and the items, and we have a simple slogan, never drink the same beer twice. This slogan came from research marketing to pubs, and one of the buzzwords is new. New is a new flavor, and 99 Bottles has a lot of new. They have a lot of flavors, so we wanted to poke that interest in our audience. So the goal for our media campaign is we wanted to keep our client in front of our target audience throughout the year. So what we've chosen to do is to run 3 ads 9 times of the year, and they'll run during the months alternate to our digital ads. The total cost is $20,109. For our digital ad, we decided to run 1 ad 3 times of the year in the Tech Flash newsletter. The Tech Flash newsletter we thought is a great medium to reach our target audience, and it's going to run in January, May, and October. We picked those months because in January, we believe that companies are continuing to plan for their year for luncheons and off-campus meetings. So we want 99 Bottles to be on the top of their list. We picked May for the middle of the year as companies are planning for the summer and some of their off-campus meetings, and October because 99 Bottles actually does some events in October already, and we thought companies are planning for their holiday parties and off-campus meetings. So the total cost for our campaign is $24,969. And that concludes our campaign presentation for 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall, the face of community. And judges, we brought a taste of 99 Bottles for you to conclude our presentation. Thank you very much.
Stop drinking, judges. We have a few minutes for Q&A.
Hi, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your digital ad
Sure.
and what the strategy is around there, and if it's clickable, you know, what's the journey for that?
Sure. So our goal is to drive traffic to the website. That's actually to their website through all the campaigns. So we thought it to be simple and to grab the attention of the viewer. So yeah, we're hoping that when you click on it, it brings them to their website.
And was the 99 logo something that you created, or is that existing?
It was already existing, and they're happy with that logo.
Got it.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
we didn't touch that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So what was, somebody else going? Okay. So I have a question as far as with the actual design of the ad. So I know Lovely with partner employee she was on, all that. What was the intent behind that as far as trying to grab a community feel?
Just so I understand your question, why did we put Virginia on all the ads?
Correct.
For the community feel?
Right.
So when we went to go visit 99 Bottles, when you go there, the big part is their staff. And when we met with Virginia and Mia, that was a big part of whatever we did, that we would show the staff and some faces. So we were trying to communicate the community that's in 99 Bottles on the ads to invite the target audience to 99 Bottles. And we put her on all the ads to bring consistency through the campaign, so that when they would see her picture in different months, they would go, oh, I've seen her before, or in the tech flash, they go, oh, I've seen that picture before, and maybe perk some curiosity. Yeah, thank you.
I liked that you continued to use the same message throughout each. It really helps in terms of consistency for readership of the journal.
Thank you.
And way to use the full budget. You know, it's fascinating to me how often in a lot of other events that I'm part of, from a judging perspective, where people don't. In reality, in the real world, agencies are expected to use the full budget for a lot of different reasons. Those dollars are earmarked in advance. So it's great that you didn't try to save and roll, you know, those dollars into maybe something else later on. I think you hit the nail on the head with the actual media buy piece of that.
Thank you.
That it, judges? Oh, wait, mic is up.
I'm just curious if there was any kind of thought around providing some incentive to click on the ad or to come to the restaurant. Was there any idea about, you know, I don't know, any kind of coupons or
Yes.
strategies there?
So we did think about at the beginning of maybe of offering like a free beer if you came and you mentioned Silicon Valley Business Journal, but it's not legal. We couldn't offer that. So we explored that at the beginning, but we didn't circle back and explore that anymore. We thought just to focus on the tagline and driving traffic to the website. That was our thought.
I did have one more question about the audience. You mentioned in your first slide how challenging it might be to get folks from the valley over the hill for this. How much of your conversation really was that versus let's focus on the ad buy, let's focus on the visual creative component of that?
It was part of our conversation in the beginning. We kind of laughed about it a little bit of, you know, people coming over and drinking and driving back. But the thought was really about getting the businesses surrounding in Santa Cruz and down here in the valley, that it's really a hidden gem, that there's a private room, great community, and that was a big thing of, we were thinking we get so busy in our lives that what they have to offer, the authentic community, could be a really driving point to get them up there.
So I'll build on that a little
Sure.
bit. You mentioned hidden gem, you mentioned the community, and you mentioned Silicon Valley as well as the locals, right?
Yes.
So if I look at the digital ad specifically, I've heard the media strategy for digital to be linked around apertures specific to getting people to consider 99 Bottles as an event space,
Yes.
but your message does not necessarily say that. So can you expand a little bit? So you have a media strategy that's designed to drive awareness about meeting and events, but the actual creative, it's about just coming to the place. So can you talk a little bit about that disconnect?
Sure. The goal for the tagline, I was saying earlier, it came out of the buzzword that we thought that could really tickle the target audience. So we're thinking because of the small space and for quick attention for our target audience, we thought that would be the best tagline and design to go to reach them. Thank you.
All right. Our next is Band of Imagination. They're representing Cynthia Apps Photography. Are they here? There they are.
I am Cynthia Abs from Cynthia Abs Photography, and I am a family photographer based out of Silicon Valley. I love capturing images full of emotion and beautiful light, and I also have a boudoir brand, Intimates by Cynthia Abs, and I look to empower women through photography, you know, the powerful women we have in Silicon Valley. Thank you very much.
So as you heard from Cynthia, our mission was to reflect her passion for photography, capturing specific moments of people's lives. And we wanted to specifically target women and their success. And as for her Intimates brand, we wanted to focus on celebrating women as a whole.
With our first ad, we have the horizontal page for the January spread. The approach of the design ad is with the intention to involve the reader emotionally with the image. By that, we wanted the viewer to have a connection or an impact with something that they can relate to. With our second ad, we kept the design consistent with the same concept of involving the reader emotionally.
So for the next ad is a half horizontal page, and we decided to put this with March as we have 3 consecutive ads revolving the same images but in different sizes, leading up to the focusing on a specific issue, which is the women's highest paid. Here's the island spread, and then also the 1/4 horizontal.
With our last print ad, we wanted to integrate the last family member reflecting the idea. Keep in mind that our primary goal is to convince the prospective buyers in the product. So in this case would be Cynthia's photography business. And then we have, for the digital, we decided on the homepage takeover. We wanted the online. We could use our client's secondary business, which is Intimates by Cynthia Abs. Here we have a brief view of how it would look like in the Silicon Valley business website. And we also have the home takeover in the mobile version. For the timeline?
So for the timeline, we focused 2 weeks in January and then 2 weeks in February, leading up to the holidays of Valentine's Day. And for March, it became a huge month celebrating family. And then we also have the 1 week in August and September as well. And here's the one for the online. We decided to put it in January for her Intimate brand, as it will focus leading up to February's Valentine's Day.
So with the grand total, we spent $25,300. We divided into 2 different markets. With the print, we invested $21,000 and online $4,300. The reason why we went over the budget is initially we had $1,000 left, but we just decided to use all the budget. Thank you.
Judges.
I've been a Business Journal subscriber for a long time, and I've never seen anything like that homepage takeover before. I want to say you did a really good job in calculating the understanding of how to use the schedule of of your actual spend, of your buy, where you're putting those dollars, what months you're putting them in. Really good job on that. That's half the battle. You want the click-throughs to be successful from the digital perspective, and they're only going to be successful if you put them in the right place at the right time. So kudos on that. Really nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for your creativity on this presentation. I wanted to say that overall the imagery is looks very nice, and nice clear use of identifying the business, and a commitment to a color palette that's used throughout the campaign, which is great. I would like to recommend that, and I think this goes for everyone, I find it helpful when my team's presenting and we're selling creative in and sharing ideas, that we really take the time to set up the assignment, the objectives, the audience, and a convince that because statement that really drives to the actions of what we're trying to bring our audience to, and to describe what your conceptual ideas are up front, even write them out, because it then when the creative comes, it's like a little bit of a build-up, and then you have a shared interest in what you're presenting, and it's really helpful to take in all that hard work that you put into the actual visuals that you've created.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would second what you just heard. I think that it's very important that we understand what is the business problem you're trying to solve. Is this awareness? Who our target is? What do we want to communicate? So it helps the narrative better, and it helps us evaluate the creative. That being said, Cynthia, your photographs are beautiful. Beautiful photographs. You guys did a beautiful job at capturing the work itself. And you also did I liked how you guys, how you ladies talked about, capturing love, capturing joy. I think that ultimately, one opportunity that I think is that ultimately you want people to know how to reach Cynthia. I see her URL very, really tiny when I look at this. So a phone number could also work, even if we're in the 21st century and everything is through the online, but it's like you're trying to get people to call or reach out to her, so that call to action is a little bit soft.
So I have a question in regards to the audience. So I know on all the materials it says best family photographer in San Jose, but I know one of you had said at the beginning that this was to focus on celebrating women, and so I'm curious to know that tie-in, because if we are taking it at face value, none of that actually really matches to celebrating women. I know it's great of children and some other wonderful, beautiful photos, but I think there's a disalignment in between the message that you said and what was shown.
Yeah, so in a way, we wanted to celebrate women that they could be not just like business women, but they could also be home moms, stay-at-home moms. That's what sort of the message was. That's why we included different variations, because, first we wanted to focus on Cynthia's primary business, which was her business photography, and then second is her intimates, but they both focuses more on the mom. But we wanted to have a variation of her photography skills, so that's why there's different photos for each ad.
Got it. So I would recommend, from, I guess, a real-world perspective, to really have that match and show women in these different roles as moms. So whether that's maybe with their kids, picking them up at school, or at home, with them coloring something of just more than that versus a child. Because from an audience perspective, I would have thought that's geared towards, oh, great, she can take my children's photos, not necessarily celebrating women.
And if I may even expand on the idea of it could go the other way of it could be capturing or celebrating women, family, and life. Maybe you could expand on the categories that she represents.
I want to give you a quick note here. I know Jay's getting ready to move on to the next. The word choice for the homepage takeover was, I think, strong. Those are not words that are seen typically. Those are not words on creative for the Business Journal, either digital or in print, that are seen very often. So I think the photos alone draw you in for the ad, but the word choice that you went with, intimates, celebrating, even the font on the creative of more is unique. So those are pluses.
Thank you.
Kevin, there you are. Band of Imagination, head out to the paparazzi room to get your photo. Who's ready for the next one? You could do better. All right, let's bring up Gilmore Graphics representing Cooper Garrett Estate Vineyards.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric. Let me introduce to you my team, Valentina, Jennifer, Min, and Ivan. Hello. We are Gilmore Graphics. We would also like to introduce Doris and Corey from Cooper Garrett Estate Vineyards. Tonight, Gilmore Graphics will be presenting our Big Ad Challenge campaign for Cooper Garrett Estate Vineyards. Cooper Garrett is a family-owned and operated winery established in 1893. They harvest and produce all of their wines on the property. The estate is also a working ranch. They offer a very unique and rare historic venue, perfect for corporate events, private parties, wine tasting, and trail rides on horses through the vineyards and beyond. We are targeting local businesses looking for venues that offer memorable locations for team building events. Our campaign strategy is focused on creating ads with consistency and authenticity. This will strengthen the brand recognition and increase business inquiries and traffic. Our media plan is designed to strengthen this strategy. We plan to introduce Cooper Garrett with a full page ad in January, followed by running one advertisement each month. We will run 9 quarter-page ads and 2 3/4-page ads. The bigger 3/4-page ads will run in the late spring months of April and May. These ads will focus on the unique team-building activities you can only experience at Cooper Garrett Estate Vineyards. I'm going to turn it over to Min, who will discuss our ad designs.
So after many weeks, we discussed many strategy and design. Finally, we're so excited to introduce with you about our ad. First thing first, I'm going to introduce you the full size of ad. As you can see, in the other side, we also have some information. So introduce with you about the day, the time, and where's the location. We also put on a test pilot to remind you that Cooper Garrett, they also offer have a wine tasting for you to enjoy for your party, private company celebration, private parties, or the event. On the other side, we also have another small picture to show you how they also have the horse riding. So and the last one, we also have the links. So if you want to find out more information or take a reserve, you can go to the link and follow the step. The next one, we have the 3/4 vertical. So thanks for Jennifer and Valentina. They chose the picture of the horse riding. So we would like to show everyone like horse riding is a very good exercise because some people cannot drink, so they can take the ride. We also remind with a small picture for wine tasting. We also have the second one, so we revert the picture. So for wine tasting will be the main topic for whoever interested with the wine, so they can see it. And we chose the color, it's a warm color, so You can imagine that you have feeling like when you drink, you can feel relaxed, comfortable with the wine. And the last one, we also have two sides for the quarter of vertical, and we have two versions. One we use for the light term, so you can imagine that it feel like relaxed, excited like summer. Or the other one, we also have the warm color, so you can imagine that it's like for spring, warm like spring or fall. And just that remind you, Cooper Garrett Easter Vineyard is an outside activity, so we chose this, and they open only for spring, summer, and fall. They don't open in the winter because too cold and raining. That's why we chose the color light and warm. Talk about the digital art. They also have 80,000 impressions for every 2 weeks. And the digital art will run on specific 3 months of the year. It's April, May, and June. So after all, this is our ad. We would like to introduce with you guys tonight. And once again, thank you so much, Chorus and Dory. You got to spend your time to join with us, what we got to do. We appreciate for your help tonight. Thank you.
I'll start. Thank you. Starting with what we were saying from the last presentation, I think that you guys, this team did a pretty good job at aligning the strategy, which is to drive awareness as a team build destination, especially with the audience that reads the Silicon Valley Journal, right? So I think that was very clear. And it was delivered on the creative in some pieces better than others. So, but you guys did a pretty good job at identifying what the advertising was supposed to do. It was about, consider this place for a team build event, and this is why. I think that you did a good job on the digital ad, especially because in the digital ad specifically, you're saying team building, horseback riding, tasting room, this is what you could do. So if I have a team and I'm thinking, why would I go to this winery? You're giving me other options. From the design perspective, an opportunity that you have is that, when you're doing the horseback riding and you're seeing the team, okay, if I am thinking of a team build, I see my team there. But when I look at just the image of the bottle of wine and the glass, that doesn't take me to team building event. It takes me to wine tasting. So I think that if you had like a picture of the tasting room with like people in it, or like so you could see your team in it, that might have been a better fit to what you're trying to accomplish, because you're going after the team build event, not after, Melissa, let's go have some wine, which is fine too, but that's not your strategy.
I definitely agree with all your comments and would like to just build off of it from a creative point of view, and also kind of connecting even a little deeper with your target audience, which is corporations, which, as we know, are across Silicon Valley. And had I just glanced at this, I would probably think it's up in Napa Valley, right? It's not right here in the heart, in the pocket of the valley. And so I think you may want to, I don't know if it's in the headlining or perhaps with a map, or somehow provide that context to help companies be aware that Garrett Farms is right here, right next door to all the companies. And it's a great place too. Thanks for all you do.
And I'll build a little bit on that. Sorry, guys. There's a line, like, bring your team together is a good line, but I think that there's a more interesting nugget, which is a destination worth knowing. For what? To bring your team together. Yeah. So how do you choose how to tell them what words to emphasize? It's important. And in this particular, in the full pitch ad, it's the destination worth knowing that to me is the nugget of the why I want to pay attention, as opposed to bring your team together. So I would have flipped that a little bit.
First thing I noticed was the use of color, and I actually really enjoyed the softer touch on that. It drew me in from a creative standpoint because I don't see that all the time. Love the use of the horseback riding in the creative as well. I didn't know that was part of their thing there, so that's great. Everyone knows where Saratoga is, so you might drop the whole address and just put Saratoga in there somewhere in a larger format. To your point earlier about location, that does help. The readership of the Business Journal is all over the place, which is a great thing for advertising. But because it's all over the place, we need to be a little bit more specific, and I think that could be a stronger call out. And I loved the fact that you used the test pilot branding in the actual creative, because if you know Cooper Garrett, test pilot, then you know that brand, you know that image as well. I also really liked the use of the print plan. It seemed like you were very calculated in that. So very good. Good job.
So I too also really enjoyed the colors. I think they're very warm, family friendly, welcoming, just gives you that nice touch, which can obviously kind of get an array of customers in that regard. I guess one question I do have in regards to the digital ads, since you said it'll run in April, May, June, is there a reason that you guys didn't decide to do, say, September? Because I know obviously there's still, after that summertime crowd and people will still be around in fall. I know they're not, open in winter, to your point, but at the same time, it could be kind of a nice reminder, to attract people again for that, fall corporate planning, gatherings around the holidays, et cetera. So is there any other, context you can provide for the April, May, June choice?
So for April is small business. They have events throughout the year, and April is small business in the Silicon Valley Business Journal. So they have like a week where they dedicate to small businesses, and then in May is vineyards.
So that was based off the editorial calendar of the journal?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Judge. All right, we got a couple more before our first break of the night, but let's bring up J4 representing D'Ancis.
Hello, everyone. We are J4, and the company we are representing is D'Ancis Inc. So let's get started. To start, we'd like to talk about D'Ancis. So D'Ancis uses emergent technology called InstantStem to provide a non-narcotic method of treating chronic pain. One small chip behind your ear sends signal to your automatic nervous system. With D'Ancis, chronic pain can be permanently cured in as little as 3 treatments.
So in the medical industry, doctors are more inclined to prescribe medication rather than try alternative methods of treatment. So our target is going to be nurse practitioners who have been integrated into chiropractic offices. Now that field is 96% female, average age of 48. And of course, the Silicon Valley Business Journal readers will be another one of our targets. They might have connections in the medical industry. Those are 67% male, average age of 57. And the most important target audience here would be the people who suffer chronic pain throughout the United States. And that makes up 1 in 4 Americans.
So our main objective is to increase awareness of the company D'Ancis and its products, the AntiStem. that's an alternative medicine using technology in substitution for narcotics. It safely prevents addiction and other side effects given by narcotics.
Okay, so the main concepts for our ad, we wanted to make them eye-catching, wanted to stop people in their tracks as they're flipping through the pages, something that would get them to say, whoa, what's going on here? We wanted to emphasize the affordability and the fact that the medicine does not involve narcotics, or the treatment actually. And we wanted to keep the design minimal and airy in order to keep things uncluttered. We started with a budget of $25,000. We're going to use 80% of that for print. So we wanted to spread that budget out over 2-page spreads to get the maximal view visibility, and 2 more full-page spreads. Jason will discuss digital.
For digital, we decided to purchase 130,000 impressions, and we decided to be present in the afternoon edition of the Silicon Valley Business Journal. We chose an upper text logo and a middle banner, and the total for all of our campaigns totals to $24,501. This is all made possible by Wells Fargo, so thank you. For our timeline, we decided to spread it out kind of throughout the year. We wanted to be present, even though we only have 4 dates, we wanted to be present kind of throughout the year to have like a full presence in the whole year. We chose April 21, August 11th, June 2nd, and November 24th for their relevance to the medical field. For our digital ads, we chose the banners, and these are our banners. As mentioned earlier, we wanted to keep the ads kind of light, airy, and minimal because that's kind of the company's vision. And here are our full-page ads. For the full-page ads, we pretty much have the same designs throughout, just kind of separated throughout. We have the blue waves, and we also have some motifs up top to mention the pros of the company, and also a bit of information, as well as a call to action, which would be the link in the paragraph. And here is our 2-page spreads, which is pretty much the full-page ad, but with more information and more things to catch people's eyes. We'd like to thank Diansys for being our partner, Wells Fargo for sponsoring this event, Silicon Valley Business Journal for putting this whole thing together, and we are J4. We'd like to thank you for your time.
J4, thanks for your presentation. So I'm really curious, the thought process behind the 2-page spreads, because that eats up quite a bit of your budget right away, and the full-page ads, which also takes up quite a bit, versus frequency. What was the conversation internally around all that?
For that, the goal was to just catch a lot of attention. That's why we chose to take up a lot of space, even though it would take up a lot of the budget. We just wanted to make sure that we can put as much as we want and pretty much be super visible in the paper rather than just having a small ad.
Thanks, appreciate it. Nice alignment with the editorial calendar as well, by the way.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. I think you did a nice job of setting up your positioning up front, and really identifying some of the key areas of your assignment, your audience, and your objectives. And I think that the idea of creating a nice, clean, simple, airy approach is smart because given this product, I think that's part of the whole idea of the product. I'm still not quite clear what this product is or what it looks like, but
Small chip behind your ear.
so the little graphic is indicating maybe what that design is a little bit. But anyway, that said, I think that I would recommend that you even further simplify the design a little bit more and maybe slow down some of the graphics to focus in on headline and imagery. Just simplify, by maybe even 40%. And I like the idea of use of iconography because it can be a quick read of what some of the benefits are of your product, and then that can translate over into your digital space as well, which you clearly have done. But again, I think a little simplification would go a long way with this campaign.
So I'm intrigued about this product actually, and I thought that the start, where you're talking about what the product is, was great, and the objectives. So again, grounding everything to the strategy. My only feedback to this team is that, in addition to what Melissa said, is that your target, you're defining your target audience as nurse practitioners, which you had me there, like great, very clearly identified audience, which means you have insights around the nurses, how they feel about providing pain. You said earlier in your setup that the doctors prescribe, but the nurses are more open-minded. But your message is talking to the consumer, not the nurse. So you're talking the message. There's a disconnect between your message, which is really telling me if I suffer from pain, why I should use this product, and everything that my colleague just said is true in that, you have opportunities to streamline the message a little bit. I would draw more on the iconography than on the pictures, because the pictures in the category feel very generic, like all healthcare. Like here the inside is like all healthcare advertising looks very similar, so the pictures don't help you differentiate, and you have a differentiated product. So I like the approach with the icons to talk about the benefits. But I find that the bigger opportunity that you guys had is that you had a great strategy, but the message is not really talking to the person you're saying you're talking to.
So when we targeted some of the text towards people who suffer from pain, the idea was that either if a nurse practitioner is reading this, they can relate through their patients. They'll say like, oh, my patients suffer from this chronic pain, so this is something that I need to look at. And also, if it's the people who suffer the chronic pain, they can refer to their nurse practitioner or doctor, say, hey, have you ever tried this treatment?
So did you consider including in your copy, ask your nurse practitioner about?
Yeah, that is in there.
Okay.
It's in part of the text.
So it's lost?
Yes. You can't find it. But thank you.
So thanks so much. It was a great presentation. So I guess my one question, which has kind of been reiterated by my fellow judges here, is just kind of in regards to knowing what the technology is. So since it's stated, but so myself from coming in B2B tech PR deep in the weeds, technology of Silicon Valley and beyond, I think, what we always try to simplify. And so to really get to that core of what that means. And so I think, from that real world perspective, to, as was previously stated, really make it as simple as possible for people to understand what the actual technology is that will help, if they have X symptom.
Thank you, judges. Thank you, Jay Ford. Now let's bring up The Few, representing First Century Evangelistic Group. The Few.
unfortunately, the rest of my team couldn't be here today, so I am the one and the proud. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my client before I jump into this presentation. Reverend John Rogers is such a great guy. It's really been a pleasure working with him over this last month and a half. He's just really somebody we should all look up to here in Silicon Valley. He's a philanthropist, an evangelist, and an activist in this area. And I'd like to give him a warm round of applause. Thank you very much, Reverend John, for all your work. I just want to let you guys know today he was honored by the city of San Jose. They gave him a proclamation for bringing the AIDS quilt into San Jose City. Okay, so for this client, there were a lot of things that needed to be done. It had been probably about a decade and a half since he had updated his marketing material, and that's including his logo and everything. So he needed a rebranding package. So what I have put together for you here is a short case study video that kind of run through all of those things really quickly for you, so I don't have to waste any of your time explaining anything. Okay, hold on one second, and hopefully we get the audio to work on this. Oh, no audio, just pretend it's there. It's a really, really great song here. Don't worry about it, it happens. It's okay, I'll send it to you guys later. So this is the trifold I put together. The resource handbook was 30 pages. And this is the website that I did. All right, on with the presentation. So basically, when I met with the client initially, I got kind of a background on what he's been doing and what he needed. By the second meeting, I had the marketing plan put together for him, which covered a situation analysis that basically states that his company is one of the leading companies that is really going out there to try to make a revolution and a change in these churches. What he does is he goes in and he sits down with the lay members and the board members, and he tries to make the churches become more inclusive. So this entire process is a 3-year kind of long drawn out thing where they're welcoming of all people, especially those in the LGBTQ community. So the market trends basically in religion is that it's declining. We do know that there has been a paradigm shift. So we're moving away from that and more into a secular society, but it doesn't need to be that way. You know, we can all find a religion that we're comfortable with, and that's what I really want to help John Rogers do here today. I'm not necessarily a religious person, but it was interesting working with this client. I'm glad I had the opportunity. So I'm going to move really fast here. Looks like I have about a minute left. So I have market trends and competitive advantage. All the judges, you got a copy of that, so you can read that later. The promotional strategy, like I said, we had to do rebranding, business cards, a brochure, the trifold brochure. I also threw in there a 30-page booklet for him that covers all of his introduction materials for his meetings. I put together the website for him. All you saw was the landing page there, but it's actually 10 pages completely. We did a social media campaign to make sure that everything is branded consistently across all platforms. And then on to the ad campaign. Hopefully we win this so he can spend this $25,000 next year. Like here we have the logo, and he was really adamant about keeping the eagle, so I wanted to make sure that we gave him a vector logo. Before it was just a JPEG, so this is the eagle here. First Century is very bold and stands out, and then we have the evangelist group right underneath it. Here we have business cards for him. I wanted to keep a rainbow in there somewhere, but I didn't want it to be too pronounced on the website or anything. But I wanted to make sure that his business card really portrayed who he was. So here you can see the logo with his information. On the back side there, you see it says, "Being Jesus freaks without being religious fanatics." I didn't come up with that. That is his slogan. It's actually in his company name. So I wanted to run with it because it really shows who he is. Here's the trifold brochure. Here's the resource handbook. Like I said, 30 full color pages, easily accessible. It's also in a digital copy for him. Fully functioning HTML5 website, 10 pages, designed to match the new brand. And then here's John Rogers. So for the advertising strategy on the digital side, we have the bottom line slider, morning edition digital newsletter, and the feature event listing. The bottom line slider basically is going to be displayed on the web page as you're going through. It's going to scroll with you kind of like a sticky nav bar. As you can see, there's a Discover How button here. If you click directly on that button, it'll take you to our landing page. If you click on this arrow or anywhere else on the ad, it's going to bring up the slider that comes out into a half page on the website right there. This is the digital newsletter. It's kind of a mock-up of an example of what it will look like. As you can see in blue, under the sponsored content, it is for the First Century Evangelistic Group. And I wanted to go with a theme of, since we're looking at board members and executives in Silicon Valley, of social responsibility and how we can get companies to be a little more socially responsible. Since this isn't his initial clientele, it was a little difficult to switch between those two. But I know that we're aiming at these executives here, and how can we get them to donate? So let's get them to click on this link and get to the web page. All right, and so here is an event listing example. As you can see on the far right side, third one down, it says Silicon Valley Coat and Soup Ministry. He's involved in so many events and so many charities going on. This is just an example of one that we can do next year. This is actually for December. And then on the left-hand side, you can also see a blown-up version of what that description will say. And for the advertising strategy on the print side, I wanted to go with a freestanding insert for him. 4 pages, full color, editorial style, more of kind of like a biography on John Rogers and who he is and how we should all aspire to be like him. And then also an upper strip ad. So this is what the freestanding insert's going to look like. It's kind of the same style as the brochure. I want to keep a consistent image across the board. You can see we have clear call to actions. We have your business can benefit from social responsibility. And on the far right side, you can see that there is a QR code up there in case they don't want to type in the URL. And this is the upper strip ad. As you can see, it's consistent imagery across all of my ads here. The only difference with this one is that there's no clickable interactive button in the middle. Instead, the info is bolded so that it draws your eyes to that in the middle. Also, this ad is a little bit more faded than the other ones were, just because when you print, you want to make sure it comes out a little bit lighter because they generally tend to print dark on newspapers like this. So the advertising budget breakdown. The digital ads, the bottom line slider was $3,560. The morning edition digital newsletter, $1,168. The featured event listing, just under $200. And I don't know how you guys feel about the budget, but if I can get that $21 back for the domain, that'd be great. Just kidding. Okay, but then the print ads. So the freestanding insert is about $12,000 for the nonprofit organizations. And that's for 4 pages. So I was hoping if we did win this competition to possibly talk to them and work out something else with them to where it could be, instead of the 4 full color pages, maybe just that 1 page back and forth, get them a little bit of a break there. And if not, we're gonna just go ahead and do it this $12,000 for the annual. And the upper strip ad is $1,610 total for each advertisement. We're gonna run that 5 months. It's a total of $8,050 with an allocated amount of 80.2%. So total left over is $2. Questions? Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation. Appreciate it. Going in no particular order, the business cards were really interesting. I liked them. The colors for the LGBTQ community also reflect stained glass windows in a church, which I really liked. I love the call to action with the whole corporate social responsibility idea. Could be interesting to see where that goes with perhaps some volunteer call to action or some volunteer time spent with that church in that community. From an overall presentation note, you mentioned what this will look like, not what it would look like? And from a practical standpoint, in the real world, that's confidence, and that's what sells. So
well, I mean,
good job on
I'm
that.
sorry to cut you off, but I put this whole campaign together in, a month. So I think that we can make some minor adjustments depending on what you guys want, and after talking to the publishers, make sure everything's sorted out. And I think we have 2 weeks prior to each deadline to get that.
The human interest piece was a really good idea. And then I love the strip ad idea as well. Something different than just another full page or half page or something like that.
Thank you.
I'd like to go back to that business card as well. I think that for me, you've done a tremendous amount of work here, which is terrific. I lean towards the simplistic, and I find that the business card captures a differentiating element within this religious space, both graphically, typographically, and the message, which is Father John's message, which is awesome. It's really fun and it's different. And I think I would use that on billboards and digital ads alike.
Definitely.
And it has a very different feel that's relevant and modern. And I lose that a little bit graphically with what I see on the other materials. It's
Okay.
it's completely different. And so I think that there's a way to differentiate within this market, if you will, that you could pull forward perhaps, and also accentuate that it's for an LGBTQT market space.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you've definitely given this there's a lot of work and thought going here. I see my trend in terms of the feedback that I'm giving, and I was going to start on the strategy, or like, what are we trying to do? Who are we talking to? And what are we trying to get the communication to do? I think that you've done a pretty good setup with the marketing plan, but what I'm missing here is, who are you talking to? Because I see that, I'm a little bit confused if the idea is that we're trying to reach corporations are we reaching corporations or to be more socially responsible, or are we talking to churches?
So if I could just answer that question. So yes, for the ad campaign, that is going to be based in Silicon Valley Business Journal, but generally for a company like this, he wouldn't necessarily be advertising towards this market unless he's asking for donations. So the call to action with is your company socially responsible, and trying to get them to our website to show what John does, how many organizations he's involved in, all of the charities that you can also be involved in by just reaching out to him. So there were 2 separate markets, 2 separate audiences that I was going for here. Sorry to confuse you with all of the marketing plan and the advertising strategy and everything. So the marketing plan was kind of the branding. So what you have in front of you with the book and everything, that's his brand there. And then for the Silicon Valley Business Journal, I kept that brand consistent, but the message changed slightly because the audience is not necessarily church members anymore. It's not the lay leaders or the board members of the churches, but rather board members of corporations in Silicon Valley. So it's slightly different.
So what you've articulated right now, it's a marketing strategy that I'm not seeing reflected in what you wrote as your strategy is. So you have it. So I just would encourage you that thinking would have been great if it was captured in your plan, so that when you look at the work, you can see, okay, there's like a branding part here, and there's a call to action here, which are different things. So it's like you have it all here. But it's sort of...
What would you have rather seen differently? Because I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what I'm missing here.
So, yeah, okay. Push back, that's great. Just do that, everyone. So I think that what I'm not seeing in your plan is, number one, what is it that the advertising is supposed to do? You just mentioned that there's 2 parts to the advertising, right?
Well, there's one thing that's just his booklet, the 30-page booklet, was a freebie for him. I saw that he needed this. There was a need for him to go out there and present this to his clients. Instead of just giving them, a piece of paper, he has an entire full color booklet now.
Mm-hmm. So again, great that the breadth of the thinking and the work is great.
Right.
I'm still missing, who are we talking to? And what do we want him or her to do?
So when I was talking about the advertisements for the Silicon Valley Business Journal, it is focused towards the executives in Silicon Valley, and the call to action there basically, are they socially responsible, and do they want to become more socially responsible, and will it benefit their company?
Okay.
And if I may, it may help to define both what we would say a B2C, business to consumer, and a B2B, business to business.
These
set
are
of
all
aud-
B2B.
It's all B2B?
All of them are B2B.
Okay.
Yeah, because he deals with not necessarily just church goers. He deals with the board members of the churches and helps them reform their church to become more inclusive. So his target market initially are the CEOs of the churches.
I would beg to say that he may need both B2B and B2C, both the CEOs and the churchgoers alike. So that can make for a very, very powerful brand.
Definitely, I
platform.
completely agree
Yeah.
with what you're saying. Yes, no, it is very important to make sure that the churchgoers and the church members themselves are comfortable with the inclusive change and the reformation that's going to be going on there. But that's what he helps the church board members through with their process, basically.
I would echo your sentiments in terms of audience, and I would say in terms of the call to action to donate, what we find, our agency has enjoyed several clients in the religious space, many different denominations, and what we find is if you're able to provide key data points to an audience that's already engaged, whether it's with volunteerism or the social responsibility that you called out in those pieces, that they're a little bit more interested, and because there's a warm sense of community already. So I do like the idea of reaching out to the folks who do read the Business Journal to volunteer time and give back in a way, because what that does is engages them to then open the door for perhaps opening their wallet later on.
Right,
down the
exactly.
road.
I don't want to ask them for donations right up front. Yes, thank you.
I basically echo this whole discussion that went on, but I guess just one other point that I would say that stood out and that I thought was done really well was that you really utilized your client, made him come through. So I feel like when I was back on the agency side, I mean, that's always when we're in those planning meetings, making sure that at the end of the day, we're making, we're representing the client well into what they want and their actual voice and that their brand, more or less. And so I feel like you hit that on the head, at least from really understanding him and his mission and having that being conveyed, through his business card and some of these other materials that you provided.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, we are now going to take a quick 5-minute break. So it's 7:09. Let's do back at 7:15. Let's get rolling right away. Cinnabar's here. Then let's rock and roll. Let's bring up Savvy to do some Cinnabar action.
Okay. Ready? Hi and welcome everybody. I'd like to start by giving a quick thank you to Silicon Valley Business Journal and Wells Fargo for sponsoring and putting on this event, as well as our correspondents, Jennifer and Brian from Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. You guys have been amazing to work with. Thank you for giving us the challenge of this design. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Cinnabar Hills is really a dream come true for their founder, Lee Brandenburg. He loved the game of golf and the experience and community that came with it. So he decided to create a non-exclusive golf course so that everybody could share that love of golf, including the public. They're located in Coyote Valley, just 25 minutes south of downtown San Jose, and fast-paced Silicon Valley lifestyle. They've been awarded Best Happy Hour and Best Wedding Venue and continue to pride themselves on their outstanding personalized customer service. Their core services include golf, weddings, event coordination, and hospitality. So our research showed us that Cinnabar's biggest competitor is Winchester Mystery House. Aside, of course, from the views and setting, they offer the same products and services as far as corporate, off-site team building events are concerned. So our challenge with this was expanding Cinnabar's reach beyond weddings and golf. They already have loyal golf members and host on an average of 70 weddings a year. So this leaves them with heavier traffic in the weekends and underutilized time and space during the week. So our main focus was to promote corporate off-site team building events to target a younger audience and small medium businesses outside the realm of golf.
We are really focused on bringing that message to event planners and marketing managers of different corporation sizes. So to do that, we've created our More Than Golf campaign. This headline, More Than Golf, and the ad that goes with it will be run in an island, half-page, full-page, and web banner ads throughout our marketing campaign. We have paired the headline with an active, playful, and unstructured text that we feel really unifies the picture and the content we are providing. Our body copy then highlights the aspects of Cinnabar we really feel fit our campaign. Private clubhouse, private clubhouse, panoramic views, unique cuisine, all make for the perfect day out of the office destination. Now, knowing that we had about 5 to 10 seconds to grab our readers' attention, we wanted to choose an image that really conveyed exactly what we wanted people to see, and that's corporate, having fun, collaborating at the golf course, and we think we got it. So now to our media buy. What you're seeing now is the allocation of our $25,000 budget and our advertising rollout. The top portion of this is broken down by advertising size and type. Below, our media buy is listed by weekly publications and separated by each week that publication runs specifically. Labor statistics indicate that over 50% of management positions are held by women. So we decided to kick off our ad campaign in March with the Women's Highest Paid C-Suite edition. We think this is going to be a great point of introduction for Cinnabar that will strengthen their brand identity in our campaign. Following this, we'll run a series of half and island page ads as seen in our rollout. And then in June, we will highlight another full page ad during the Top 100 Silicon Valley Employers Edition. We want to target event planners across all industries and company sizes. And we also want corporate to keep in mind that team building is critical for its employees as it encourages collaboration and increases communication. And Cinnabar is the perfect place to do that. From the beginning, our agency objective was to showcase Cinnabar in a new light and attract the up-and-comers of Silicon Valley. We wanted to promote Cinnabar as the perfect venue to recharge and bring a new momentum back to their companies. But most of all, we really wanted people to know that Cinnabar Hills Golf Club is more than golf. Thank you.
I'll start. I think this team did a great job with your setup. I have a very clear idea that, I've never, I live in San Francisco, what Cinnabar Hills is, what you're trying to achieve, who is your target, the challenges. You have a very clear setup and strategy about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to say about Cinnabar and who you're reaching. So great job with the setup. I also think that you guys did a great, more than golf captures it. You want to expand to get people to think more than golf. So really good job on all of that. My question is your choice of the image. Can you talk to us a little bit about the choice of that particular image, because it's predominant in everything that you're doing?
So the image choice that we used, it showed a working environment that was out of the office, and we put them on a golf course. And they're all holding a little piece of the puzzle. It's to convey the team building aspect.
Did you have any discussions, for example, about using an image that communicates more than just one thing? So because there's dining, there is kindle, and there's different things. And
so in the web app, you can use it a little bit more. It's actually it's an animated GIF, and it showcases in the beginning of the ad. It's still about the name, the call to action, and then when it changes, it shows the happy hour. So you get a little bit more of a sense of that.
To build on that too, when we first started our campaign, we kind of had about 5 or 6 different directions that we were steadfast, we're going to do all of these. And then we really had to boil it down. We felt like more than golf was exactly what we were trying to get across. So we decided to focus on this one ad and really promote that.
headline captures, the headline delivers on the problem that you're trying to solve. So that's more.
And I think I also agree with everything there. And the headline More Than Golf is really fun and it's extendable. I think this is a first image, but what you could do with this, you could have even more fun with it.
Totally.
You know, you could have this be a lay down AstroTurf background and then have objects, or you could have people, millennials laying in the grass, or you know, you could have hula hoops, or you know, like you could have you have a stack of donuts, or I don't know what, but I mean, it could be a lot of different things that you could have fun with. And if your market is the millennial audience, you know, in that digital space, I would probably simplify it even more. It's great if it, you know, it's on a carousel or rotates or whatever, but think about what that fun imagery could be. I mean, you could tell a whole little story in that space and really drive to happy hour, to an event, to, I don't know, games, but More Than Golf is fantastic. Love it.
Thank you so much.
Focus on the more.
Yes.
What's more?
I'm going to echo all of that. I'm intimately aware of Cinnabar Hills. I play there at least once a month, and you know, it's known for a lot of things, but it's also known in the Valley for hosting every major nonprofit charity tournament in the entire Valley. But it is More Than Golf because in the way it gives back to those nonprofits through the way it hosts their dinners and those types of things. It's also known for their bar. So if we're going to be real, it's known for their clubhouse, and it's known for the Brandenburg Golf Museum, right? All those different pieces. So those could become part of the imagery. I do like, however, from a creative standpoint, what you did in selecting that particular image, because golf is a game of strategy, just like this puzzle trying to fit, right? And so while you're on the golf course, you're working either with others if you're playing in a tournament, or against them if you're playing solo. So I like where you're going with this, but I also might use a different image that would communicate a marketing strategy for the more piece.
Okay.
But good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so pretty much echoing everything that everyone's already said, but I guess in relation to the picture, I think, especially when you mention here panoramic view, so I think that could have been captured in this image a little bit more. So right now, it's like you could have taken this on any piece of grass. So this actually could have been at who knows where, on somebody's backyard lawn. So I think that could really be conveyed to actually get that atmosphere, in addition to still, you know, if you still wanted to keep this, but really make people understand where they would actually want to go to have an event versus just like, oh, why are we going to go there if we don't even know what it looks like? So otherwise, great job.
Understand. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I kind of love AstroTurf. And I kind of think it's fun that it's so different from being a traditional kind of shot, but it's almost like you have to play up the kitsch a little bit more. So if you had this visual vocabulary of a marketing strategy, a series of objects that could lay down against that background, it could be interesting. I also wanted to just throw out that perhaps bullet points instead of a paragraph of copy might get across, like the variety of opportunity within this venue could be a quick read.
You briefly mentioned the location in your presentation, and that is probably one of the other challenges that this particular course faces. So while you're talking about More Than Golf, you might also pair that with Closer Than You Think or something else, right? That can become an obstacle, especially at tournaments. People, you know, enjoying, you know, a little adult beverage after the tournament, and are you going to send them down the hill after, right? So calling attention to, hey, you know, really is Closer Than You Think. It's right off 101, right? It's so play up that as well. It's the more piece.
And then I think you could even add an actual email. So I will say nowadays people are incredibly lazy. I mean, we want it instantly. So to go and find information on a nebulous website, I just like, you know, it's
too much.
It is. It's too much for people. So once again, simplify, make it as easy as possible to attract clients. So it's like, oh, great, if I'm flipping through this magazine, oh, cool, I can just email from off my phone. I don't need to go to the website, try to navigate contacts. So just that'd be another suggestion too.
In this case, I think identifying it is within the valley, it's like a little nugget, it's a little star attraction nobody knows about. But if you could even have a call to person on here, I think that would really personalize it, make it like your own concierge, experience. We want to create intrigue, an awareness and intrigue, and then we want to drive to, get into that space and talk to somebody. Or a website.
Another thing that this can go, a lot of this is science and a lot of this is subjective. But so when there's a lot of everything, as I said before, a lot of things here that I like. One thing though that I'm a little bit sort of on the fence about is you're sort of going out there with more than golf, but then you're sort of ending with a little tag that says build your team on the green. So it sort of goes counter to getting them outside of the golf mentality, and I see why it might be clever, but it actually took me in a different direction. So you're going, so again, it sounds good, but it goes counter to more than golf because you're sort of going back to what this is known for, and you're trying to reposition this. So I would think that a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, let's bring up Intrinsic for Net 30.
Hi. Just trying to impress, Okay, everyone ready? All right, we're all ready? Okay. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and esteemed panel of judges. We are Intrinsic, and we are here to represent our client, Net30. Net30 is not only a really cool name for a Silicon Valley company, but for the construction industry, it's an actual term that is indicative of an existing building system that already exists that helps property developers to pay invoices in an approximate of 30 days, as long as everything is obviously put in correctly and done on time, right? But compared to the 70-day time period that it takes for anyone not in the service, it's pretty good. Now, so Net30, our co-founders are right here. They're Casey Bell and Anthony Serinelli, and they really founded this because they noted the broken invoicing and payment process within the industry. Net30's goal is to provide an efficient, liability-free, and user-friendly online service for property developers in the construction industry, dedicated to provide awesome software to build trust back into construction.
With Net30, property developers, contractors, and subcontractors can log into a web application and easily input and access information. Usually, once the developers get paid, it takes 70 days for that money to trickle down to the contractors, the subcontractors, and the developers. So our high-tech approach cuts that time in half. This also helps build trust between the developers and the contractors and the subcontractors because everyone is able to view where the money is going and who is getting paid. Net32 intends the property developers and construction business owners who care about efficiency, transparency, and liability, as you can see from the quote above. Silicon Valley Business Journal will validate Net30 with its readership. leading clients to trust our company because they know the journal promotes quality service and products. Even though Net30 is fairly new to the industry, it has better customer service than its competitors. We help make invoicing and paying people easy so that developers, contractors, and subcontractors can get back to the job that they love to do and are good at. We provide secure, automated ACH payments released in minutes, automated lien waivers attached to every invoice, and affordable flat pricing. With Textura system, Net30 competitors, it is not easy to use because you have to fill out the invoice each time, which makes it easier to make mistakes. If you are a subcontractor and you see a mistake and you have to contact the general contractor to get approval to make any changes. That takes time. There's got to be a better way. Go back. With Net30, all you have to do is enter the information into the invoice correctly the first time, and any future files are completed automatically, ensuring accuracy and not disrupting the workflow. Once you're done, you can sign the lien waiver and export it with your invoice. Easy as that. Our user-friendly interface makes Net30 simple to understand and easy to use. The Net30 website also has several screenshots, like this one, illustrating how easy it is for the developer to manage multiple jobs and have clear understanding of where the money is and what method is being used for payments.
Here is our budget price plan, and 84 consists of print. There are 4 full-page ads, 3 half pages, 3 upper strips, and 1 quarter page, where print approximately totals 21,200. And as far as digital, we have 2 packages of 80,000 impressions, totaling approximately 3,500. With that, we maximize the use of our budget, staying close to 25,000, totaling to 24,673.
So for the distribution of our advertisements, Net30 stated that there is no specific or ideal season for our target market because property developers can access the service year-long. After consulting with Casey and Anthony, we decided that the optimum strategy for our advertising schedule would be to spread out the advertisements evenly throughout the year. Here's the first half of the year, and here's the second half of the year.
All of our ads maintain Net30's branding elements in order to promote brand recognition and brand awareness. We want our customer to be attracted to and be able to identify Net30 brand from its visual symbols. We maintain the colors from Net30's logo and website because we believe that is essential for marketing collaterals to have the identical look and feel. And here's the mock of our full-page ad. So for our full-page ad, it explored the idea of worker trusting their tools to maintain them safe during working hours, just like clients trust Net30. For our half-page ad, we want a powerful image with plenty of drama to attract readers' attention. And here's the mock-up for the half-page ad.
For our upper strip, we had slightly changed the format to match the dimensions, but we still kept the same elements. And here's how it looks like in a mock-up.
It's too good. It takes a little bit of time to load. There you go.
This is our quarter page, and we wanted to show diversity within the industry, as well as showcasing the jobs that are more detail-oriented. Here's how it looks like in the mock-up.
Sorry. So now we go on to our digital. We chose the 80,000 impressions. We chose a couple packages of that, and this is going to be one of the banners. It's kind of similar to the other banner that you guys just saw, but it has a couple of elements that we wanted to kind of show that like digital aspect to it so that it would fit the platform that you were viewing it in. And here's an example of that. So as you could tell, it really seamlessly fits in with the Silicon Valley Business Journal website. And then here is what it would look like in a mobile device. Again, you can see how it seamlessly flows, and that's actually an article that was already wrote on our company in this same business journal about how we're just the best, you know? Yeah, so Net30 is the company striving to make construction business transparent, again, efficient, and most importantly, user-friendly. Our client, Net30, is excited and thrilled to work with the Silicon Valley Business Journal in the upcoming year as we save time and build trust together. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for your presentation. So I guess my first question is, who is the audience? So I mean, is it CFOs? Is it project managers?
So the audience is property developers that receive the Silicon Business Valley Journal as they're part of the readership, and construction business owners as well.
Okay, and so then another question I would then say in regards to some of the imagery that you had, I would say I think that your upper ads as well as the banners, those were on point, but I think that some of the other images that you had that were for the full page, like one of the gals, great that you had a woman, but it looked like she was a chemist. The other one, it looked like somebody was, I personally actually don't have a construction background, but the very first image that had it kind of, I wasn't sure if it was somebody wielding, but get these people pertaining to the audience of what they're actually doing rather than just somebody doing a task, have it actually relate to the industry.
Yeah, if I could respond to that. The reason is because obviously the people that get the journal are the decision owners, and we're not saying that those decision makers do not go to the job site. You know, they do go and they do meet with workers and everything. But at the end of the day, we wanted to show what work was being done. We wanted action shots, we wanted drama, we wanted to catch the reader's attention. So we decided to go with something that would pop out, stand out in the newspaper or in the digital impressions for matter's sake. And then
we also wanted to showcase that this is an invoice service solely for construction, not for other types of companies. So that's why we wanted to put those types of images in there.
Okay, so it's not just construction, so you're trying to reach a broad gamut of industries or what?
It's just for construction.
Within the construction industry, property developers.
But then you just said you're trying to show other jobs or other people who
right,
use it.
so the one that
So that doesn't
you,
align. Like a chemist photo has nothing to do with construction.
It's actually a lady
cutting wood.
Okay, then if you can have that needs to be
Yeah.
more clear then, so
Of
we can
course.
actually see that, because otherwise I think that, oh, that's some type
Yeah.
of physician or nurse ad.
Of course, yeah,
Or not even a
totally.
nurse, just more of it in a, I guess, or even like in a chem lab.
Yeah,
So I'm
and-
just trying to stress to you guys that make sure the imagery matches to the industry, and really then you're able to actually have that conveyed. Because at a
Right.
first glance, if somebody's whipping through a magazine or seeing it online, you're not gonna think, oh, that screams construction.
Right. Completely understandable. The only other thing was that we really, obviously we use Shutterstock photos that we purchased. So we were looking for something that wasn't Shutterstock. You know, we wanted something that didn't look like Shutterstock, that didn't look like a woman just kind of like, this is a lot of what we saw, like just grabbing, being like, you know, or just kind of like that, or like two white men holding hands and like shaking. So those were kind of the images that could have pertained to property developers, but that's not the look we were going for, just to finalize on that thought, yeah. Thank you though.
Couple quick notes. The message here really is about time, saving time. You know, you have a couple audiences here. Really, one audience is the property owner, the developer. Our agency represents a lot of property owners, a lot of developers, a lot of GCs, a lot of architectural design firms. So why choose Net30 over someone else, right? How is it going to save me time? And showcasing that in the ad from a visual standpoint is going to be important. The other piece is that the Silicon Valley commercial real estate market is very, for lack of a better word, incestuous. It's very small. And everybody else knows everyone, and they know their dirty business, and they know, where all the bodies are buried, right? And so getting a testimonial from a key developer or getting a testimonial from a key GC in the Valley and having that person's image in the ad is going to be successful. A third note is I love the integration of a woman in the ad because this valley's CRE industry is really growing with women in leadership roles. And if that's who you're targeting, they are going to respond to seeing a fellow woman in an ad. So I really liked seeing that. And if you guys win this, I would suggest looking at Crane Watch, which is something fairly new for the Journal. From a digital perspective, that could go far for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Did you want to answer to that?
No.
About how so there's only a couple competitors. Like to your first question of like why Net30. So there's only a couple competitors. We mentioned Textura, that's the main one, and the reason why Net30 was actually mostly developed was because they observed how Textura worked and how it was very inefficient.
Yeah, so Textura, I'm actually come from a subcontractor family, and when we sit in Textura, the general contractors have to use it, so we have to use it. We pull out our hair because it's not easy to use. It's very complicated. It doesn't take. It's not a quicker amount of time to get paid. The process is very complicated, and how Net30 helps with that is that there's ways that there's incentives. They get discounts if they pay the subcontractor with the time that the subcontractor wanted to get paid. There's a lot of things that they do to make it easy. Like the lien waivers are right there. They're signed. Everything's ready to go.
I like your creative. I like your use of color and a lot of your messaging. I think you need to, if this team is successful in the challenge, I think you might need to go back and do a little bit more work on audience development, perhaps. But good presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, a really, really nice presentation. And you also lucked out with a great company name, Net30, very nice.
Yeah.
And the branded identity, which is nice and clean and relevant, and definitely differentiates them from the Oracle product. And so, again, nice use of strategy and setup and charts and graphs and everything up front. I think that graphically and content-wise, save time, build trust. I think it's close, but I don't think it's quite there yet. Yeah, it is. But I think, back to your point, I think that there's an ease of this product that really differentiates it. And I think
Right.
we're not quite hitting that.
Okay.
And I really love when creatives show context in their presentation. So showing the mobile app, showing the mobile ads, and showing the newspaper and the ad in there, that's really effective
Right.
in presentation skills. So I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. And I think that I also wanted to point out there's, I love this, I love the feature of the article of Net30 takes the pain out of getting paid in construction business. That's kind of it,
Exactly, yeah.
And I almost wonder if there's a way to show that off in a headline alternative conceptually. The ads are they're beautiful, they're kind of slick, and they at first are arresting, which is good, but I think there's maybe another concept there
Right.
for you guys to
Maybe
go
another
after.
layer.
Yeah.
Maybe one more layer.
Yeah, but you have all the components. I mean, I think you definitely have a really strong presentation.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'll build on what everybody's saying. I think that you guys have done a great job at developing a campaign, and it's very you're very choiceful of what you put on the page. In terms of the imagery and the words, less is more. So good job on that. In the real world, an agency would show up this is the strategy and this is two options. This option is about, we're going to focus on the save time, build trust, and this is what this looks like, and I'm going to show you another path. You have a very clear, unique selling proposition, which is where I gravitate to, and transparency is the word that comes out to me. What's unique about this product is transparency, and I'm eager to see what transparency would look like, because save time, build trust does not, so when you say about transparency, I'm like, what does that mean? And I'm not the target. I'm not in the construction business. I'm not a developer. So maybe if I am the target, I would get it. But when I was looking at this, I circle this takes the pain out of getting paid, because that to me is the problem you're solving. And I would have liked to see a direction that took us there and make some choices. So what I like about your team is that you guys had a very clear campaign, the imagery, everything sort of worked together. You thought the media, the choice of words were choiceful. You didn't try to communicate too much. But when I look at the product, there's something around the transparency angle, which is what makes it unique, that I'm missing in the creative. So it's not what you, it's like I would have liked to see what that campaign would have looked like coming from this team.
She's right on the campaign piece. I mean, she hit the nail on the head. This is a real campaign that you've developed, which is awesome. There's a lot of work that goes into that. You know, one of your slides shows the budget plan price at 84% print, and I think that's a really strong piece. You've clearly understood how the CRE industry locally reads this publication. They want to touch the newsprint still, and you've put a lot of your dollars into the print, which I think is a smart move for this particular campaign. But I'm pretty curious as well about what that transparency would look like.
I think I can answer. And I could go back to show that one slide if it's possible, if you guys don't mind. I don't know. You guys tell me. I know, that's what. Well, this is just basically that screenshot. I know it's kind of blurry now with the projector, but this whole part right here is what the transparency aspect. So what Net30 does is that it helps developers who are in control of like managing the payments, right? They pay their contractors and then they pay their subcontractors. So then what Net30 does, it makes it extremely easy to manage multiple payments at once. And then it gives you all the information right there in like your summary page.
I think they wanted to see that.
Within the ad, of course, yeah. But that's what transparency means for Net30.
So you guys did a great job
Yeah.
setting that up. It's like that's kind of like.
Right.
You know, and there's
It would be interesting
there's
to see
branding the company and there's branding the product. You know, and so I think you could take a whole other approach to this as well, which is interesting. I also think that the word net is really interesting. Net30 might be your first product, but it could turn into a platform of other products as well, which could be interesting.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, judges.